bright like the morning's first rain. No storm too wild can sweep her away. She's fire and gold forged in her frame, a solid force beyond fortune and fame.
Hi, welcome back to Loading Her. I'm Haley Binkley, and I owe you guys an apology. It has been way too long since I have recorded an episode. I have been on tour, touring around the United States and Europe. I'm just kidding. I have been traveling, but I have not been on tour. I don't know if I could ever go on tour and speak in front of a crowd of people that were here to see me. So that would be scary. But I have been traveling. It's been the holidays. Turn this up a little bit. It's been the holidays, and so I went home to Atlanta for Thanksgiving. And my last episode, I'm pretty sure I left you guys with a pretty heavy episode that had to do with my family drama a little bit. And so I was really nervous going to Atlanta to see my family. My grandfather has been struggling a little bit more, and it's a really interesting situation to be in whenever you are an adult, and everyone that has been an adult your whole life is now getting older, and you're somewhat responsible for being an adult in their life. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic to get used to, because you've always been the kid and you've never had to worry about your grandparents or your parents or anybody that would be dependent on you. And now they are. And it's a very interesting dynamic. So I went home to help with my grandfather, to see my siblings, see my parents. I saw some aunts and uncles, and just had a really good time. Unlike other times that I have gone back home, there's been a lot of pressure about who I'm seeing and when, and usually I'll get an Airbnb and stay centrally located away from all the hustle and bustle of Atlanta. Usually right outside of Atlanta, I'll stay kind of centrally located so I can go see family in certain areas and friends that I make time to see that are important for me to see. I decided when I booked this trip, obviously my grandfather was my main priority, so I booked an Airbnb near his house. And on past trips, I have ran all over town, stressed myself out, trying to see everybody, trying to make sure everybody's happy, trying to do everything I can to people please and bring everybody together and be like, we've got to be a family. We have to see each other. This is very important for us to spend time together. And usually when I'm not in town, it's rare that my family gets together. So I kind of am the glue that brings us together, essentially, because family is important to me and I want to see everybody. And I grew up with a big, happy family of cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents. And it was just a mixture of this big family. And we would go ride four-wheelers together or go hunting or I don't know. I just remember growing up very close with my aunts and uncles and my cousins, and I loved it. It was so fun. We always had a good time. I know the adults were having a good time, and it was fun. And now that dynamic is a little, it's a lot different. Not everybody gets along. Sometimes my siblings and I don't get along. Sometimes my parents and I don't get along. But usually it's other people in my family not getting along. And I usually want to see everyone. And I am usually there for only a few days. So I stress myself out trying to make sure that I see everybody, make sure that I make time for everybody. And this time I told myself, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I am going to not stress myself out trying to book time for everybody. I'm going to make sure that obviously I see everyone that's important to me, but I'm not going to share with the others who I'm seeing. I'm not going to tell them what day I'm going with mom and what day I'm going with dad. And it stressed me out way less. I had way less anxiety going into it. I kind of told everybody, this is where I'll be. If you want to see me, you're more than welcome. Let's go. We can go hang out downtown in this little small town area where I was staying. And I was like, you guys come to me. Like, I'm not stressing myself driving all over town trying to see everyone while I'm tired after I just drove 6 hours to get here. And so it was way more peaceful, setting the boundaries that I needed to set, doing what I needed to do for me, and also reserving time for me to also enjoy myself and not stress myself out trying to see everybody, trying to cook a Thanksgiving meal. Like, I am very much the type of person that wants to go all out, that wants to have the big meal and host. And I do too much. I push myself too much. So this time I didn't do that. And it was drastically less stressful for me. And I've figured out that it's really hard for me to set boundaries with people that I love, like my close family and friends, and even significant others at times, because I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want them to feel like they can't depend on me. I don't want them to get their feelings hurt when it comes to me, feel like they're not important to me. I mean, it just, it all weighs heavy on me. The emotions of my family members. And sometimes I carry that weight a little more than I probably should, because I have to remind myself, everyone in my family, we're all adults now. There's no kids yet. Hopefully there will be. I really want my sisters to have kids. But there's no kids in our family. So my cousins are adults, my aunts, uncles, obviously they're adults, my parents, grandparents, everyone is an adult. So in my mind, that makes them responsible for their emotions. That makes them responsible for how they're feeling. That makes them responsible for how they choose to handle a situation. And same with me. And instead of me trying to protect everybody and carry the weight of our family on my shoulders, I chose to take a step back, and that changed my experience drastically. And I actually was able to enjoy myself. I actually was able to not stress about where I was going to be and when, and trying to like overbook my time and account for driving time and all this stuff. So I highly recommend, if you have not if you are in a similar situation that I'm in, if you are from you live out of town and you have to go home for the holidays, setting those boundaries will change your life drastically if you have found yourself in a situation similar to me. So, what I figured out before the holidays, where you're about to be running all over town, leaving town, traveling, seeing all different kinds of people, being out of your comfort zone, being busy trying to cook or host, whatever it may be, I have figured out what works for me, and I'm about to share with you guys. It might not work for everyone, but it's going to sound really crazy. And for somebody who's type A like me, it's going to sound like if somebody were to tell me this, I would be like, what? That's crazy. What do you mean? So, number one, with anything in life, I think this would work actually. Lower your expectations. Lower your expectations of yourself. Lower your expectations of what you expect from other people. Lower your expectations of the food that Aunt Beverly's making. Lower those expectations. I really think, for me, undiagnosed, I'm a perfectionist, have perfectionism issues. I think it's because of a lack of control from my childhood, a lack of feeling safe. So the way that I feel safe is when I'm in control. And I think when I am about to do something, if I'm about to go somewhere or go to a party, it used to be a lot worse when I was really insecure in my relationships. I would get so anxious about social settings. If somebody I didn't like was going to be there, or somebody that made me nervous was going to be there, or someone that intimidated me was going to be there, I would get nervous, and I would have to try to picture what was going to happen in my head before I got there. And if I couldn't picture it, it would make me even more nervous or anxious. And I don't know why. I don't know if that was just me trying to gain control of the situation and find comfort in it. But with that being said, I would also create an expectation in my head. I wouldn't freak out or get upset if it didn't follow this expectation, but in my past relationships, especially the abusive one, my main abusive one, it was sometimes when we would go into social situations, parties, whatever it may be, sports events, there were times that he would leave me with another girl, or he would just leave me there. And I think that created a sense of I wasn't safe in my relationship, obviously, but I wasn't safe in public settings, especially if there were women that seemed like a better option for him, or whatever it may have been. So that gave me a sense of social anxiety. And I just think that that's where it's kind of rooted from. I don't think that that is the reason that I feel social anxiety now as an adult in a happy, healthy, supported, safe relationship. But definitely, I think that is where my social anxiety started. And it's funny because people will like people that I've expressed this to, something happened this past weekend and I'll get there. But you know, when I've expressed this to Dustin, I have social anxiety. Sometimes I get anxious when I have to go to work and I can't picture how the night's going to play out in my head, or I don't know. It's really weird, but I get anxious. And when I used to get anxious, I would automatically point that anxiousness towards my relationship and be like, okay, something's wrong in my relationship. There's a reason that I'm feeling this way. This is my gut. This is not, something's going on. Whatever it may be, we're not safe. So I would contact Dustin. This was in the very beginning of our relationship. And I would be like, what's going on? What are you doing? My gut is telling me something's wrong, whatever it may have been. Obviously, now, from a way less anxious place in my life, after much research and talking to many people, I have grown to find out that when you're anxious, it feels urgent and it feels like reckless. And for me, it's in my throat and it's in my chest, and it's so weird just talking about it. I can feel it. It's crazy. Like I feel like I can't take a deep breath. And when it's your intuition, it's quiet. It's calm. It feels like you can trust it. Anxiety's like, oh shit, we got to do this. We got to all I can think about like relating anxiety to for me is like this high vibration feeling in your body where you're like, oh, I gotta, you know, and I don't know if it feels that way for everybody else, but that's how it feels for me. It's like this like high intensity, like vibration in my body, which I don't know. I could be like going on a whole other tangent with this one, but it brings me back to energy. And I think about energy all the time. I think about energy in my body. I think about energy and vibrations with people and conversations and atmospheres of places that we spend our time. I don't know. I just think about this stuff all the time, and I don't even smoke weed. So it's crazy that my mind has high thoughts. I mean, these are the thoughts that keep me up at night, but I lost my train of thought. Shit. Oh, I was going to say when it comes to anxiety or anger or sadness, I think that vibrations are given off in our body. And sometimes, even in unhealthy, toxic relationships, we get addicted to the feeling of that high intensity, whether it's anger, sadness, anxiety. You can get addicted to that adrenaline rush or that dopamine hit that you get whenever you accomplish something in a toxic relationship or find something out, or you release this anger and you get addicted to those feelings of high intensity moments. And I think that whenever it comes down to people that are always talking about drama or always angry or what somehow in toxic relationships all the time, or going back and forth with a toxic ex, which I am guilty of, and I am speaking from experience when I say this, you get addicted to that high intensity moment, whatever it may be for you. And it's just crazy that once you figure out how to control those high intensity moments and recognize them as actually dangerous for your nervous system and not soothing and not productive and not necessary even. I mean, I think our bodies down to a primal level have figured out how to protect us. And sometimes it's hard for our bodies to associate the feelings that we have that feel unsafe to us to life or death. So like, you know, toxic relationship, life, it feels like life or death to you. It's not, you're not going to die, but your body is releasing these chemicals of like, I am unsafe and we got to get the fuck out of here, or we got to hold on to this for our safety or whatever it may be. And once you figure out how to, first of all, recognize the feelings that you're having, recognize the way that your body's reacting, and differentiate what is good and what is bad, because sometimes it's hard to tell because adrenaline gets involved, and you know, these chemicals of in our brain get released, and if it's all we've ever known and it's familiar to us, if we grew up in a toxic environment where people were arguing all the time or whatever it may have been for you, if it's familiar to you, it feels safe, even if it's not. And it's just so crazy that our brains work like that. And I'm forever amazed by our bodies and our brains and just the human experience in general. So obviously I'm not talking from a science standpoint. I'm talking from my perspective and what I'm thinking. And I might not even be onto something, but I have looked into this stuff before, and it's crazy. It really is crazy. So yes, after that tangent and that probably sidebar that had nothing to do with what I was saying, but kind of did, lower your expectations. Be present. Be happy that you have time off of work. Take some time to express your gratitude, even if it's just with yourself. Look around. Wow, I am so happy that I'm not at work right now. Wow, I'm so happy that I have a family to spend the holidays with. Wow, I'm so happy that I got to sleep in today. I mean, whatever it may be. Wow, I love the way my hair smells because of this new shampoo that I bought. You know, whatever it is. Those little moments of gratitude and lowering your expectations, especially around the holidays, will let you relax a little bit. And for me, that has helped just in general in my everyday life, because I have such high expectations for myself. I stress myself out if I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And it's for what? What is the reason? What is the reason? Why do I have to check everything off of my list today? Why do I stress about being successful? And I mean, I know why I stress about the things that I stress about, but if I was more present and less focused on like where I'm going to be in 3 weeks or a year from now, which obviously you have to focus on where you're going to be a little bit, but don't let it consume you, you know? So another thing that has helped me around the holidays, around family time in general, is take a break. You don't have to be cooped up in a house with all of your siblings and your mom or dad or whoever, Aunt Betty, that drives you fucking insane. You are an adult. You can go outside. You can go on a walk. You can take some seconds of fresh air. You can listen to a podcast, read an audiobook. I guess you're listening to an audiobook. You're not reading an audiobook. You can take a second to yourself. That is allowed. And if your family doesn't allow that, I mean, you just have to. You have to be able to do that. And you should not be expected to sit in a house cooped up for the holidays without taking a freaking second for yourself. On my people pleasing adventure that I've been on, my deep dive to realizing that I am a people pleaser, I have figured out that just because you have to create boundaries with somebody doesn't mean that you don't love them. It means that you love them more because you're willing to take the time to do what you need to for the relationship to heal it and work towards the relationship being a productive thing in your life and being something that you're working towards. And that's a hard thing to learn when you express your love by giving everything you have for people. It has been an adventure to learn that. And I guess I'm just here to tell you that you can have it all. You can have your boundaries, you can have the people you love, you can have the holidays with family, you can have your peace. It just takes work. It takes being uncomfortable. Your anxiety and your feelings that you're having that feel scary and negative, they are trying to tell you something. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means you need a little more time. You need to tread lightly, walk slowly through this process. So, this past weekend, okay, so I've been traveling for 2 weeks off and on. I got home from traveling. We got stranded in Atlanta, had to drive home from Atlanta because we were tired of being at Delta's mercy, getting us to and from where we wanted to go. We had layovers all day and we were just over it. So we drove home. The next 2 days, I work 2 doubles back to back. I can't remember if I did open to close on both of them. I think I did open to close on the first one, and then, which is 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. And then I did open to second cut. So that's usually about midnight. And then I just worked a lot. So Saturday rolls around and both of Dustin's kids' birthdays were this past week. And so we did this party at the arcade in town with their friends and some of their family. And it was a big group of people. And I was looking forward to going to the arcade. I thought it sounded fun and I was looking forward to it. So I sometimes am hard on myself when it comes to being weak. It's not weakness, but to me, my flaws, I'm hard on myself. I'm like, I'm a baby or I'm weak or whatever. So we get to the birthday party and I have noticed recently that I am very sensitive to light, sound, and energy. And it hasn't really been something that I've noticed before, but my eyes are very sensitive to light, especially flashing lights. And I'm very sensitive to loud sounds. And I feel like this is because of my PTSD. And as I've said in past episodes, it shows up randomly and you're not expecting it and you're going through your day and all of a sudden, bam, PTSD. Hello. How are you? I'm here to make an appearance. And for me, when I'm not expecting it, I try to push through, which you're not supposed to do. But I try to push through and be like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I can fake it. Especially because I know that Dustin knows me very well and I don't want him to, I don't know. I just was worried about being a bad stepmom or being weak or a baby or whatever. So we get in this arcade. I haven't eaten much that day, which was my first mistake. I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, it's okay. I'll get something there. They didn't have food there. My therapist had always told me, whenever you're starting to feel anxious, run through in your head, how much sleep have I had? How much water have I had? How much food have I had? Which I did not do. I did drink water, but I was hungry. So I was already a little on edge, and we get to this arcade and the games are like, so you pay $15 to go to the arcade and then the games are all like in Japanese and not all of them, but most of them. So you don't really know what the directions are for the game. So it's not like games that you've played your whole life. They have some that you've played, but most of them it's like, what is this and how do I play this? I don't even know what this is. So like I couldn't even really play the games and be like okay with that. But I also, if I look at a screen for too long, my eyes start to hurt and I get headaches. And so it was dark in there, flashing lights, an arcade sounds, boom, bang, 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 kids banging on shit. Like it was like, kids screaming, whatever. Everybody was having fun. And I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. And it's not anything that anyone did. It was like my sensory overload was like, we are not okay. We are not safe. This is not, I don't know what it was. So I kept trying to push through and I was like, I'm hungry. I kept trying to picture in my head, like where I was going to go to eat. Why, as an adult, did I not just be like, hey, I'm going to go grab something to eat. I'll be right back. I don't know. Because I didn't want to look bad. I didn't want to be the one that left. Thank you, Kira. Thank you for that. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to be selfish. I wanted to be present and I wanted to be there and be what Dustin needed me to be. I wanted the boys to have fun. I wanted to watch them have fun with their friends and play and whatever. My body had a different plan for me that day. My body, I was just like, I don't know. I got to a point where I was just on the verge of tears because I was just miserable. And I didn't want Dustin to know because I just didn't want him to think I was like pitching a fit because whatever somebody would have thought. I mean, I was thinking my worst thoughts. So I was like, he's going to think I'm pissed that it's not about me, or I don't know, some childish thought that I had. But I finally got to the point to where I was like, I got to get outside. So I just was like, I don't know. I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My eyes were doing weird shit. I just was like, I got to get out of here. I felt like I was like, almost like I was tripping because shit was like moving. I don't know. It was weird. So I got outside and I sat there for a minute and I was like, oh, I could breathe. And Dustin came out there. And of course, the way that I am, whenever somebody gives attention to how I'm feeling, it makes me want to cry, which I hate crying. And I hate the way I feel. Like, I like the way it feels to cry because it's a release, but I also don't want people. I guess I have this trauma with my emotions, that I don't know, it has to do something with my childhood. It has to, is the only thing that I could think. But I don't want somebody to think because I'm crying that I'm trying to manipulate a situation or I'm trying to make them feel sorry for me. Because usually if I'm crying, it's either because I'm mad or I'm like genuinely hurting or sad. So I usually don't want somebody to see me cry. I just want to cry to myself quietly in a corner or in the bathroom. But anyway, so he comes out there and he's super understanding and sweet, and which is nice because that fear was gone after the fact that I expressed how I was feeling. And I was just kind of frustrated with myself that, for one, I didn't take the steps that I needed to take for me that day when I knew that I needed them. I knew that something wasn't right and I didn't listen, and I just pushed through, and it got to the point of me breaking and almost having a panic attack. It is so important for us to listen to our bodies, even if it seems like in our logical mind, it seems minuscule and it seems weak, or whatever we tell ourselves, the mean voice in our head that tells us, hey, quit being a little bitch and get it together, and you're an example to these kids and you need to chill. When all I should have done was like taken a second to myself and walked out and took some deep breaths outside. It's just crazy. Listening to your body is so important. And when I ended up looking it up, it seemed like what was happening for me was a PTSD situation of sensory overload. My body wasn't prepared to be in that type of situation to where it was a lack of control, where we didn't feel safe. So I ended up eating and being fine, and everything was fine. But I just think that it's very important that we listen to ourselves and not let it get to the point of having an even more traumatic situation because we chose not to listen to how we were feeling that day or what we needed. We chose, I made the decision not to eat until later because for some reason every time I eat, I like for to act like it's my last meal and it has to be the most perfect, amazing meal I've ever had, instead of just, you know, eating something quick on the go. Like, you'll be fine. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that because, I'm forever learning, forever growing, forever loading into her. See what I did there? And I just, I don't think that we are ever going to be there. We are ever going to be like, damn, I am there. I am 100% that bitch. And I I don't know if there will ever be something that we don't have to work on. It's a never-ending cycle. But I do think that we can get to the point to where we know our body and it makes it easier. And you can still be that bitch, but you're that bitch with anxiety. And that bitch that needs to pay attention to what her body needs. That bitch needs some water and some food, but you're still her, you know? The older I get, the more respect I have for my body, my mind, my soul. And I really think there's something to that. I think there's a connection there to if you've ever spent a long amount of time in nature, sleeping outside, you know, spending time in nature, I think that it's all connected. It's all connected. We are nature. And I think we take our bodies out of nature, and that's how we're supposed to be. So it puts us on this like heightened, we've adapted into this mechanical world when we're supposed to be a part of this organic ecosystem of everything around us in nature. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I have my tinfoil hat on today or not, but I'm just, you know, I really think that our bodies are not regulated the way that they're supposed to be regulated because of how we've adapted into the humans that we are today, living inside, having electricity around us all the time, having all these different waves of microwaves and Wi-Fi and, you know, 5G and all these things that are affecting our bodies, this organic matter that we don't even realize. I don't know. I'm not going to go down that road, but I just, you know, it comes down to right here, right now, listening, breathing, paying attention. And I think that's all we can do is learn to trust ourselves, learn to notice the things that we need. And I think that it will make it a little easier. So I am going to wrap up today's episode. I hope that you guys have an amazing holiday. I hope you have a peaceful holiday with friends and family. I hope you guys are safe and happy and healthy. And I'm so grateful for you. I am considering releasing just an audio episode after this one with a guided meditation if you need something to pull your mind out of the chaos of the hustle and bustle of life. If you need to pull your mind out of the chaos of the holidays and hosting and friends and family and anxiety, whatever it may be. So I think I'm going to post 2 episodes this week, but one is going to be strictly audio, and I've never done anything like that before, so we will see how it goes. It's been a long time. I might be a little rusty, but we're going to do it. And we're going to get through this holiday, and we're going to get through this new year. We've got this. And we're going to keep growing and learning together. And I'm going to keep sharing my experiences with you guys. And I really thank you for listening. Happy holidays. I'm Haley Binkley. And this is Loading Her. We'll talk soon, guys. I love you. Bye.
bright like the morning's first ray. No stone too wild can sweep her away. She's